that engineer at ACOM. Oh, here we go.
I just saw that.
Okay. Have you got me?
Yeah. So I was just laughing there where the door went, and I can hear your dog.
Oh, it's chaos. He needs a cable tie around his feet. So yeah, that engineer, that's coming from somebody really, really qualified, far more qualified than you or I, or probably anybody else on this band. But the amplifier you've got, it's a Ferrari of an amp. It needs to be run. It's no good having that thing chugging along at 300 or 400 watts because, like you said, you're restraining it. If anything, it's designed to be running at a much higher value, which will come into play when the license conditions changes. So that's coming from somebody at ACOM. You could not possibly run that at say 200 watts and not be producing clear linearity. So that's a real valid point what that ACOM guy said to you,
Yeah, well that's it. Yeah, I mean, he said to me that look, you can run it. You can run that amplifier at 200 or 300 watts. He goes, it's just gagging to be run at a kilowatt, and he says that's the problem. He goes, it wants to be run at those higher values, and obviously I can't run it at those higher values, but he says you're fine running at 200-300 watts, 400 watts. He says, but he goes, you will expect it to go hot. It will go warm, and that was the only query. I just noticed that the amp was going quite warm. The exhaust ports were they were chucking out up to 80 to 85 degrees C, and he said to me, there is 90 degrees C, the next stage fan kicks in, and the fan will speed up. He goes, and then it will stay at that speed until it drops down to 80 again. And I haven't heard that fan kick in. Do you know what I mean? To be honest with you, I think the highest I've ever seen it get to is about 83, 84 degrees. But I've never seen it get any higher than that. But I just remember having a conversation with somebody. I'm a member of the ACOM Facebook group, and I remember reading somewhere that somebody had put that they were struggling with the same issue as me with the same amplifier, with the 1500, and they wanted to know why it was that it was getting quite high, and quite a lot of people had said, 80 degrees is quite high. And so I just took it to I spoke to ACOM and sent them an email, and to be fair, Val emailed me back, and he said to me that what he says to everybody. He says, I tell this to everybody. He goes, if you've got a kilowatt amplifier, he goes, that amp wants to be run at a kilowatt. It wants to, the 1000 and the 1500. He says, and the 1200, he says they're crying out to be run at 800-900 watts. He goes, that's where they're at their peak performance. That's where they want to be run. The everything inside is wanting to be run there. He says, if you're running at 200 or 300 watts, he goes, it will overheat. And I suppose that makes sense, really, Sean. I was just when I kind of chatted to him, and he told me that it made sense, but. So yeah, I mean, I'll definitely keep within the legal limit with it, as you should, as everyone should, until they change things, and then maybe I can, poke up the power to about 600 or 700 then. But I haven't even got mine on at the moment. I keep it off. I don't have it on all the time. I'm just on 100 watts at the moment, Sean. Over.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, I'm running the amp now. I'm running it approximately 300. But this is the smaller amp than yours, as you know. But anyway, check your phone. I've just sent you a little video clip. Admitted there's no sound because I'm listening through my headphones. But that's your trace and how it looks on my band scope. Your signal's around an S9, so you can see that does not look like a horrible, dirty signal. How I'm receiving it. Yeah, you know, if you want to be hypercritical, there are a few little spikes here and there, but crikey, I would not be worried about that. I really, really wouldn't. And that's you running at 4K. So I'm wondering if you've watched it yet. Tell me what you think. And another way of doing it is watch yourself on web SDRs, and that's how people are going to be receiving you. Honestly, Ian, there's nothing excessive with your signal. I'd like to do the test again when you're running the amp, just to see what the difference is. But when you come here, I'll show you how the AMC affects things. It definitely helps. You've got to bring that into play. Yeah, you can run it at 100, but you'll see on my meters here, when I run mine at 100, it spikes. It definitely spikes. If I reduce it down to about 70, it starts to cool the spikes, which is what you want. So, there's mixed feelings on the AMC with these Yaesus, but they're there for a reason. And the guys at Yaesu, they know far more about it than us, like on 40 meters. Ian, go ahead.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Can I ask that on the right hand side, that yellow line that follows your right? So let me just get this right. If you look at that video, do you see the highlighted blue bit through the whole of that? Is that 3.6? Is that where you've got your receive set at? Is it?
On that video, I was receiving you. I've got my filter set to 3.9K. Now, I believe you're going out at 4K-ish, or probably just under. So, yeah, that chunky bit on the right-hand side, that's your low end. That's your low end, that is. So that's your 200 or your 300 or whatever you've got that low end filter to. So generally, because you've got a bit more low end, which is what you want, remember, it's showing up over.
Yeah, well, that's good. I like that. I can see that low end there. And then where I'm not seeing any spikes on the right-hand side of the low end at all. They're completely flat there on the right. Now, if you work your way over to the left, you can see there's a peak. There's a peak on the treble and one in the middle. But it just ever so slightly lifts the treble on the far side of the 4K. Do you follow me? There's an ever so slight lifting of the frequency just outside the treble, just on the far left, Sean, isn't there, Rather?
Yeah, there is, because when you've gone to your high setting, which I think is 3200, you put a bit of a lift in there. So yeah, we are seeing that. Anyway, you've seen it. Now remember, if you were operating on upper sideband, it would be the other way round. The low end would be on the left-hand side as opposed to the right-hand side. Because you populate in the upper sideband of the signal. So yeah, anyway, it is what it is. You're always going to get that, where you're drifting off sort of 3K and beyond because you're running at 4K. You're going to get that tail off at about 3.8K, then it just suddenly drops off and it becomes a little bit more messy and tidy as it falls away. Yeah.
So just to ask, on the far left-hand side of my carrier there on the left, where I'm getting that lifting, which is just outside the carrier, just outside into the darker blue of that I can see, that's the tail. Is that what we're referring to when you say tail?
Well, yeah, it's actually, you've got tails left and right. They're not so pronounced on the right hand side at the moment. But yeah, you're going to get that. Now, if I go over onto my, I bet if you zoom in on me, you'll see something similar. Even SDRs aren't perfect. You've only got to look around the band and you can see lots of people do it. But as long as you're within You're not going mad. I mean, there's some people come on here, they run an amplifier and they go, they're just overdriving everything. You're getting tails both sides, which equates to about 10k wide, and then they come and moan that you're running 4k. Doesn't really make sense to you. But anyway, to me, you're producing a reasonably clean signal, well within parameters. You know, I really don't get it. I'd like to see what you're doing now would not offend. I just don't think it would offend anyone at Ian over.
Yeah,
looks good to me.
I can see that slight lifting of the. I can see the slight lifting of the frequency on the left-hand side, ever so slightly. But on the right of it, I don't see much at all. Just to the right of where my base is, where that yellow line runs down. To the right of that, there's no lifting there. I don't see. It's just on the left, on the back end, on the top end, ever so slightly. I notice it, but yeah, well that's okay. I mean, I'd like to see what I see there. I can't seem to get that screen on Hat Green. I'm just wondering if there's another SDR where I can see such a detailed version of that. You know what I mean? Because on Hat Green, it's very vague, isn't it, Sean?
Yeah, G000, acknowledge today. Well, for a start, Hat Green's alright. But it doesn't compare to the Kiwi SDRs. Go on Kiwi, find one of their SDRs. I mean, the Kiwi, there's SDRs all over the world using Kiwi, and there's quite a few in the UK. So pick one of them and stick with it, and it will give you a more detailed band scope. Now, I know you're using Station Master, aren't you? And he's got Hat Green sort of built into it, but personally, I wouldn't use that. It's not detailed enough for what you're trying to look at, Ian. Anyway, listen, don't take my word for it. Dave's on here, and he's got a critical eye. He'll tell you. At least I think that's a comment he made. He's watching your trace like I am, and he's on an SDR. And get his opinion here. Okay?
Yeah, okay, Sean. Morning, Dave. How you keeping, pal? I'm assuming it's SKA. I was listening to you earlier on, actually, chatting to another gentleman up on slightly further up the band, and yeah, I could hear that you were a bit concerned about your audio, but as usual, you sound perfect to me, Dave. Back to you.
Okay, yeah, I'd had a few issues with a preamp, but I'll tell you about that later. But no, Ian, good morning, Sean, M0 SKA. I'm looking at my Sun SDR2, and you're clean, no spikes at all, Ian. So whatever you're doing, don't worry about it. I think Ian, Sean made a change with you there on the AMC, and that sounded that did make a little bit of difference, but no, all good to me, Ian. So I wouldn't be worrying about anything. Mike Zero SKA.
Yeah, M0 SKA M1 GSX. Yeah, no, I just, to be honest with you, I just had I had an email off a guy the other day, and it was quite a nice email. He just, he wasn't fun. He just said, you've got some tails, and so he included a little link from his SDR on YouTube, and I could just see some lifting. But that was I was operating on 400 watts there, so maybe I should put the amp on, and then I can get a bit more of an idea, because I'm only on radio power at the moment. But I mean, I'd like to operate on 4K, but if there's any chance of me upsetting anyone, then I'll go straight back to 3K. I don't want to be causing anybody any interference or anything, Dave. Over.
No, well, I mean, if you want to go to 4K, we can check, but no, you're absolutely clean with me. And I don't know if Sean, have you got your screen on there? Just have a look at 149. There's a station on 149. I've no idea who that is, but Look at the mess up there. This is the problem, though. Now everybody's running with SDR receivers or SDR transmitters. You can actually see the issue, and it's highlighted it even more. But, you know, it's not a bad thing, you know, to clean the signal up. But, Ian, honestly, you have no issues at all. So don't worry about it. It's absolutely clean as it is. It's all about the gain on the mic, and with that radio, the AMC. I don't have that facility on my Yaesu, but it's there to be used, isn't it? And yeah, I think where you are now is absolutely fine. Anyway, I'll put it round to G0OOQ M0 SKA.
Yeah, G0OOQ. I wish I'd have filmed you then, Dave, because Ian was on the mic and he signalled, you know, the band change. He went up to about 20 over, and I was seeing a bit more feathering, and I was. But then you come on the mic, Dave, and I was seeing it with you. And it's purely, I mean, you was about 25 over at one point, Dave. But when you're down to your, you know, everyone, you see that all the time, don't you? Crikey, I bet you've seen it with me. You know, it's just band conditions. And you have got a little bit of low end here, and as has Dave, as have I, but you want that, don't you? You don't want to sound like a Spitfire pilot. You want a bit of clarity. You know, I personally, seeing what I'm seeing now, I really would be worried about it. We can do the test another day when you're running the amplifier. But Dave, I don't know whether you heard that about. He got in touch with ACOM about this, and because he's got the ACOM 1500, they actually said to him, you know, it needs to be ran. That thing does. Because it was slightly overheated, because he's pulling it back to fit within the legal limit, you know. So I think you're overthinking things, Ian, over, and it's a good thing you're bothered because you're bothered, because a lot of people aren't bothered at all over.
Yeah, M1 GSX returning. Good God, I'll tell you something, it's absolutely chucking it down here now. Hammering it down. Yeah, I've just put the amp on, so we'll chuck out. I'll put up. I'm on radio power at the moment, so I'll turn it up to about 350 or something, and we'll see if that makes any difference. I am on 4K at the moment, Dave. I'm on 4K at the moment. Yeah, that was. You know, it was one of those really. You know, you want to be right. You want to keep it good and keep it right. And you know, I mean, I don't want to be upsetting anyone. You know, it's important to me that. You know, the last thing you want to be doing is seeing someone, you know, who's got SDR, seeing some tails. But as long as it should be okay now. I've turned it down, the mic gain down a little bit. Like I say, I don't think it's really a power issue. I think it's more of a mic gain issue, and you know, just perhaps just overdriving a little bit. But we'll pop the amp on in a minute. Is it warmed up? I think it might be warmed up. Hang on a minute. I'll put it over to you, Dave.
Yeah, no, yeah, I can see you're on 4K, and there's no issues at all. So yeah, we'll see when you put the amp on. But no, you only have to listen round the bands, and it's the same people day in, day out that you hear on the bands, and you think, my God. And one of the worst, and I'm really surprised, is Jeff up on Hoyt. And okay, I know he's got a good antenna system and everything, but he's terrible. And then you've got Malcolm in Wales. He's terrible, but that's his mic gain. And then you've got BJ, haven't you, Sean? And at times, he is one of the worst, Sean.
Well, it's just amazing that the 10 watt stage, well, I'll rephrase that, a 9.2 watt station can produce such a horrible signal. But then again, he's not running 9.2 Makes you laugh, doesn't it, really? Because the band scope reveals all. There's a lot of energy you've got to populate within that signal tracer, and 9.2 watts just isn't going to do it. Anyway, listen, I'm going to clear off, but I need to get on my bike and have my morning session. Ian's coming round after for a brew day, and hopefully I'll be able to show him that little video I've just done, because I've done another one. But I think he's over worrying things, Dave, which is a good thing. Right, I'm going to clear off, get on my bike, and probably have another brew. But I'll see you later, Ian. Dave, good to hear from you, and hope all of us continue to be well over Christmas. And I'm sure I'll catch you, but if I don't, have a good New Year.